Day 3, time for rafters.
Yeah.
These are 2x10 rafters. The guys mocked up the first one, then used that as a template to cut all the rest. I had to run an errand and couldn't get footage for the rest of the day, but by the end of day 3, the guys had the back rafters on, all the front full-length rafters on, and one dormer wall built. All right, first impression.
This is my kitchen! Oh, my future kitchen.
View out the kitchen window.
Oh my gosh.
A beautiful porta potty.
Yep.
Look at that. Not bad.
I can get used to this.
Just gotta get rid of this dead tree in this porta potty. End of day 3. What do you think, Mr. Peppy?
Oh my goodness. Like, just craziness. I'm so glad we went with these freaking huge windows.
Definitely upsized the windows a couple times, but now we got good size ones.
Oh my gosh.
Yay!
This is so nice.
Lots of light.
Yeah, and then with the big door.
Big glass French door here, full width glass.
It's gonna be so
With the deck.
nice.
Still yet to be built. I guess that's gonna be on my plate this fall.
It's gonna be so nice.
Pretty cool.
It's cool. One thing I will say is that the roof slant definitely, since it's, you know, going to the bottom of the wall, touches the front wall there, it does cut in a lot of the space that we could have potentially had if we raised the roof, but we wanted to keep this looking like a garage.
The architectural look of this Cape Cod roof is definitely worth it.
Yeah, but it definitely cuts into the space, which you can see right here, but that's totally fine because it'll all be framed out. This is gonna be cool.
Pretty cool to see something you designed come completely to life.
Like, there are just not even words to describe it. It's so cool.
It's pretty much like you're down on ground level again. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, it doesn't feel scary. Yeah, but like putting down the flooring would have been a little bit nerve-wracking. This is cool. Yeah, the floor doesn't feel bouncy or anything.
I mean, when they were dragging lumber up here and they were really all over the place, I could feel a little bit of bounce, but that's a hell of a lot of that's a lot of force that it's got to endure.
Yeah.
We still got a ways to go. They think they're going to be done.
I don't think they're
tomorrow and Monday, but that's a lot.
That's a lot to do because they still got to do the windows. Maybe he's not thinking about the windows. Maybe he's just thinking about the framing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he must not be thinking about windows and doors.
I don't know. I think he is. I don't know. Because yeah, we still got to frame these gable walls. I think tomorrow they want to be done with the framing. All the wall framing.
Interior too?
Interior too.
And the roof rafters.
And ceiling, yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
It's gonna be a lot. I don't know.
It took them all day to do like the floor.
I don't know. I mean, it took them, when we started today, all we had was the ridge beam. So
no, you had that wall.
Well, in the wall. So we cut, today they cut all these rafters.
But they still gotta go back and put all of those.
And built this wall.
So I have a question. Why is the rafters like sticking above the ridge beam up there?
That is on purpose for ventilation.
Oh, okay.
So that's going to be a ventilated roof deck, and we need to have a space for the air to get up and out the ridge vent.
Okay.
So that's
a typical detail.
3/4 inch proud. In fact, they're not even as proud as they are as it's listed on the plans. I had 1.5 inches on the plans, but when we really looked at that this morning, it was like a little bit too much. Yeah. They were like, yeah, it's probably more overkill. So, and actually it's better to have it smaller gap up there than you have at your soffits, which is a big vent anyway, just because it's you want choked flow. You want to go from large to narrow space so that the air really has to work to get up there, because if you don't, then you can have a constant draft up through your ventilation cavities, and that's not good. Like it should be just a natural convection flow, not a forced flow. So having a little bit of a choke up at the top prevents it from taking off into a major draft.
Oh my gosh, look at the wheel bug.
There he is.
He's the mascot.
Wheelbug is always present.
How the heck does he get up there? It's like they just installed that.
I mean, they fly.
Wheelbugs fly?
Yeah. Okay, now you're in the bedroom. How do you feel? Tired?
I hope the opening doesn't
tired.
stay, or else I'm gonna fall out.
Still have to unload that truck down here before we leave. Go get some other connector nails and roof underlayment and stuff tomorrow.
So this is the bathroom. You sure we can't put a window in? Just kidding.
Yeah, not at this point. If it was in one of those walls, it would be more doable, but you got to put a header in.
Yeah.
So it's a real pain. And then the header has its own width. So in this, these are two, depending on the width of the window, it might have to be a 2x10 header. I mean, we probably, with the shorter window, probably could get away with a 2x8, but still that's the width of it. That's a 2x8 up there. It's gonna be close, so.
Oh my gosh, is that another wheel bug?
You and the wheel bugs.
Did he come from over there? Oh no.
They're good.
No, that's a lantern fly. Okay, wheel bug, get him.
Maybe the wheel bug will kill the lantern. Day 3 here on site. Guys are hard at work, throwing the rafters up. Starting to see the shed dormers come to life. I'm gonna get busy taping while these guys are working. I was planning to get a lot more work done myself while these guys were working, but it really never ended up working out like that. I was constantly distracted with questions or going to run and get materials that I didn't have, or just checking what they were doing to make sure that everything was going all right. But I squeezed in small tasks where I could. Here's an example of when it really pays to be on site, know the plans like the back of your hand. Hey Abner, are you gonna install the blocking for these edges? We gotta block all the panel edges. I know. Just like we did back there. That's something the framing inspectors here get on you about. All the panel edges gotta get blocked.
We can get it afterwards too, but we're just gonna have to block or check them all. Probably won't all be on stacked at 14.5 like they should be.
Right, and it helps straighten the studs out. The crew was trying to work quickly, and it's easier for them to forget about some of these small steps. One thing that I wasn't able to catch in time was the guys lined up all the edges of the sheets on this gable wall. It's not the end of the world, but it's just not best practice. I made a conscious effort not to micromanage these guys as much as I could, but these sort of errors just make me wanted to do it more. So I just had to take a deep breath every once in a while, step back, and remind myself that it's gonna be all right. By the end of day 4, the short rafters above and below the dormers were on, the second front dormer wall was built, the north gable end wall was sheeted, and the dormer side walls were underway. It's a rainy Monday here this morning, but the guys are back on site working anyway, finishing framing these dormers up, getting the wall sheeted on this south-facing side here, and then we're just about to start framing up the gable end overhangs. We're taking the simple approach on the overhang and basically doing what's called like a ladder framing, or they call it chicken ladder framing. Basically, it'll be a box that's built separately and screwed onto the side of the gable wall here. I originally had lookout rafters spec'd for basically a dropped gable wall in order to tie that overhang back into the first rafter, but it's just a little bit more hard to air seal, and I'm already going to be having trouble with that here at the eave ends where the rafters hit the walls. So I figured it would be easier on my part later down the road for insulating and air sealing if we were just going to do the applied gable overhangs with the chicken ladder framing. These 2x10 Rafters are quite a long span, so I spec'd mid-span blocking both on the back and front roofs to stiffen them up.
According from the model, it's 7'6" in.
Right. Where does that leave us? About 7.5.
Now which side will it?
Bit of a...
Hey, where'd you go when I saw you, yin yang?
All right, not a bad day of work here. The guys got this gable wall behind me all sheeted, and we finally started doing some interior wall framing. Right now, I'm going through and looking at all of our window openings very carefully. I'm gonna start flashing them because tomorrow, the guys really wanna wrap things up. It's a lot of work to do. They still gotta sheet and underlay the roof, and still have to put all the doors and windows in. Well, just the one French door and 6 windows. Not to mention some miscellaneous framing tasks here and there, plus the interior wall framing. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get all that done tomorrow. Right now, I'm going over all of our windows kind of with a fine-tooth comb, checking that the rough openings are level and plumb, and that they are square enough to install our windows tomorrow. So far, everything looks pretty good. Everything's not perfect. Rough carpentry never really is. That's why they call it rough opening, so you can shim the final level. So I'll do what I can to get the flashing in tonight so we can get ready to go tomorrow morning. Okay, the real boss is here now.
George.
And by that I mean George. All right, it's gonna be George's first time up in the living space. I'm gonna carry him up like a briefcase.
Just keep him attached to you.
Yep, just like I carry up a sack of potatoes.
Oh my god. Don't get caught on the leash.
He's trying to climb up himself.
Good morning. This is hopefully the second to last day on site. Today we're going to be sheeting the roof. The guys got the gable overhangs built on yesterday. That sound is a palm nailer. It's an air-driven hand nailer. The guys are putting all of the adjustable slope rafter hangers on to secure all of the rafters to the ridge beam. I think it was just about 1,000 nails that needed to be driven to secure all those. Then it was on to roof sheeting. While most of the guys were working on installing the 5/8 roof sheathing, Daniel and I worked on the center steel column. I used a 20-ton bottle jack and a temporary post to temporarily relieve enough pressure off our temp columns in order to get our LVL blocking in the ceiling in, plus the mini attic steel column. We started by fastening the 2 steel columns in place, then carefully measuring the width between them. Daniel then planed the LVL blocking to just over that width, so everything was in compression when we took the temporary columns out. All right, that is officially the end of the 7th day on site. Not too bad progress today. Got most of the dormers wall sheeted. Got to go get some more sheeting for the front tonight. I was a little bit short there. And we got the center column in, which is a pretty big step. We can take out these temporary columns tomorrow. So now the night shift of procuring more materials comes, and I got to go all the way up to York to get zip sheeting because the local Home Depot doesn't stock it, unfortunately. So the grind continues. It has been an exhausting week for me, especially because I had a family reunion and I flew to Wisconsin over the past weekend. So I'm a little bit sleep deprived. I can't wait to get through this stage of the build and get some more sleep for a week or so before we get back to the grind again. What do you think?
It looks good. Definitely didn't make as much progress as previous days, but that's okay. They had to go back and redo or fix up some things that we missed, so it's all good. But it's looking like a house.
Interior walls going up. The last of them. The last bit of interior framing was the ceiling joist. We used 2x8s over the open living space, which had quite a long span, and 2x6s over the rest where there were some interior walls. By the end of the following day, second floor and roof framing was complete. I'm going to skip the window install for now, that's next week's video, but we are really pleased with how it all turned out. The roof is temporarily dried in. We used a peel and stick membrane across the entire roof, except for this one little bit where we ran out. It's a little bit more expensive than regular synthetic underlayment, but it's a good peace of mind. The week leading up to and the week of this framing project was definitely the toughest of my life. Trying to keep an eye on this crew, make sure they had all the right materials, and remedy any issues that came up on site was definitely exhausting, and I am really happy to be through this stage. It feels amazing to have the structure dried in. We really appreciate you watching. Until next time.